Today I'm going to be showing you how to start homeschooling. So this pretty much means how to pull your child out of school and to start homeschooling. So if they were in public school or private school, these are all the steps they'd have to follow to start homeschooling. And I live in the state of Florida, but these are the most generic rules I could find. And it's about the same for every state, but again, it may vary based on where you live, your county, your state, and the specific rules they have. So let's begin with the first step. So the first step is you must send in a letter of intent. This should be addressed to your school liaison before you can begin your homeschooling journey. And I'll go into more details of what the letter of intent should look like, and I'll have linked below, but there's lots of samples out there. So your question might be, what is this letter of intent and how should it look? The letter must contain your student's full name, date of birth, and mailing address. It also must contain the parents' guardians' names and contact information. So again, very basic. It must contain a statement that states that you are homeschooling your student from this date forward. If you change counties, you'll have to send in a letter of termination for your homeschooling in that county if you move to somewhere else, and then you have to do the same step again where you have to say this is what I'm doing. You have to notify the county on what you're doing. Again, many states have different rules, different counties have different rules. I'll have a link to HSLDA in the description, and there's a map and you click on it and they have a lot of information there. It's very useful. It can help customize the information you need based on where you're living and what state you live in. Okay. So after you sent in your letter of termination, it's approved, and now you're starting to homeschool. And make sure that whatever work you're doing, you have records of it. People always talk about the 180-day binder. Some people just keep it in a portfolio. This varies state by state also. Some states require certain standards where you have to have it to be able to be shown, which is why people have the 180-day binder. Our state does not require that. But again, if that makes it easier for you, there's plenty of resources to have your 180-day binders, or you can just keep it in a portfolio. Again, make sure you keep your records as neat as possible because it's very important to have your students' information just in case. It's also just nice to have a record of what you've done so you know what you've covered and what you need to cover. Also, make sure you obtain a copy of your students' records. And it's important to remember that you can withdraw your student anytime and start homeschooling. You don't have to wait to the end of the school year. And again, you get to design when your school year starts and when your school year ends. Okay, so step 5, you must have an annual evaluation. Now, there's plenty of videos out there that go into more in depth about this, and I'll maybe make a video upcoming in the future that'll go over what an annual evaluation includes. But pretty much it means a certified teacher signs off that your student is doing work every year and they are at their grade level and they're improving. It's pretty much the basics of, yep, you've done everything, we check the box. And our state doesn't require to have you don't have to have an SAT or there's different types of tests public schools and private schools have, where you have an annual test that your child takes at the end of the year usually. Again, for homeschooling that's not required, at least for our state it isn't, because it might vary based on state. Again, you can have that test, and there's plenty of videos that go into that and how the test can be conducted and where you go, or if you do it at home, and many different things with that. But the annual evaluation is a requirement. You must have that every year. A certified teacher signs off on it. There's many resources out there and many people that will do that for you. It can vary from anywhere from $35 to $60 for you to have that every year, which is a price worth paying because you need to have it. It's required. But anyway, so that's, again, a requirement you must have is your annual evaluation. The next step is once you're done with homeschooling, you send in a letter of termination to your county. Now, this is, again, the complete opposite of what we started at, which is your letter of intent. So again, this is if you move to another county, you have to stop your homeschooling, send in a letter of termination saying we're no longer homeschooling in this county and we're moving somewhere else, and then you do the same thing where you'd register in that county like you've done before. Or if you're completely ending homeschool altogether, then you would send this letter of termination in, and I'll go into that more detailed in upcoming videos if you're interested. But pretty much you're sending in the same kind of thing, where you're sending in a termination that you're no longer doing homeschooling anymore, you're moving on, your kid has reached all the standards that you set for them, and they have finished their homeschooling. So that's usually graduation. So that is pretty much the basic rundown of what you need to know for how to start homeschooling. And this is all the information that you need in a quick rundown of about, I think, 5 minutes. I gave you some basic necessities, but again, this is how you start homeschooling and a couple of the steps that you need to do after it. Now, if you're wondering, obviously once you start homeschooling, you need to have a curriculum, and I made a video on that of how to build your curriculum. I'll have that linked in the description, but there's many different curriculums already pre-made out there. You can use one of those, or you can hand pick your own. And that is pretty much it. Thank you for watching. This was a quick rundown on how to start homeschooling, sending in a letter of intent to your county. This is the basic information that I hope will help you in your homeschooling journey. Thank you for watching. More videos coming soon.